I just watched a video from a Gen Xer who feels like she just woke up. How did we get here? I bought it all. I bought a house. I went in the army. I served my country. I'm disabled. I'm trying to get 100% disability because of my pain. I don't medicate with morphine. I work every day. I have to.
Very, 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 very sad scenes that you're seeing there. Absolutely sad. It's saddening to see a human being suffer that way. Now, of course, we're feeling sorry for this person, but there are important things to point out. First of all, he asked a very, very important question. How did we get here? How did America get here? How did the world get here? How did we get to this? He points out how the fact that only 5% of people in the world own all the wealth in the world. 5%. How did we get here? There are easy explanations. One of the things to point out here is that people who identify as white, who boast in being white, so-called white people, built this machinery of the 5% of the people that own the wealth in the world. They did that. They vote white power, they invest in white programs, live in white neighborhoods, all to promote this racist agenda of white supremacy. So white people have participated. And so now you have to, together with the rest of us, you have to participate in demolishing these evil systems. That's why I've been advocating everybody has to be an advocate. These people, the 5% of the white supremacist elite who own all this wealth and use it for their own evil agendas around the world. These people have used racism to divide and rule. They have used racism as an effective tool to conquer. He talks about how he was made to believe, him and many of his friends were made to believe they're getting rid of terrorists, not knowing it's the corporations that have actually made these structures of terrorism, raised these terrorists, funded these terrorists, supported these terrorists, armed these terrorists, given them guns and everything. And these are the things that we see in Congo, Sudan, where you name it. They've done this all over the world, and still they don't have enough wealth. They still want more. Who are these people? And these are the things that we need to find out and dig into. But it's absolutely sad. And to see that sadness, and you think about the sadness that the innocent ones have, who have lost loved ones, kids who have had to grow up without parents, who are orphaned because of programs like this, under the pretext of getting rid of the bad guys or bringing justice to the world. All of which are just lies. And we're going to be uncovering more and more and more lies and exposing how these people have been using lies to propagate hatred. But let's keep watching.
Like, when only 5 people have all the money, and they just print it when they want to, and they just send it away to places that they have special interests in, because this whole world is led by evil corporations that feed us garbage. Come on, man. The very first, I woke up and saw it all for what it is. I fought for this. I believed it. I thought 9/11 was real. What a joke, man. Do you think Baltimore was real? You think that bridge just collapsed like that? And the same mother... And I went in the army because 9/11, the same mother had an insurance policy on a bridge that randomly got blown to bits by a boat, and building. Has anybody ever thought, yeah, 2 planes hit those 2 buildings, but that building just collapsed with no plane hitting it? Meanwhile, passengers like me who want to fight for America take a terrorist out. It was bought by a corporation to do this in the beginning. They crash somewhere else. Maybe that plane was supposed to hit that building and they could explain that one away.
Now, another sad part of that, and this is something that I explain in my upcoming book, White Legacy. The sad part is that these people recruit young people, innocent young people, who are simply looking forward to a future, want to be able to afford their college degrees. So they recruit into these units of the army to be able to make money, enough money to go to college. But look where most of them end up as veterans. They can't be helped. They have no homes. A lot of these veterans are stranded. There's a letter that was written by a veteran, I think by the name of, Thomas Young. He even died. Wrote a letter to George Bush on behalf of many veterans. So there are so many of them. You're going to hear at some point he's going to explain how a lot of them even commit suicide. Either they commit suicide or they're suicidal. So you can imagine these young people are recruited into the army. They are used for this agenda and then they're thrown away. They are used to destroy humanity, innocent human beings, and then they're thrown away at the end of the day. It's time to wake up, people.
What has happened to our country? My friend just told me that his good friend is down in Panama. He's like an ex-CIA SF guy, and he's watching people show up in hundreds and hundreds because there's no passport or immigration rules in Ecuador or some shit like that, and they walk the Darien all the way here, man. This is designed. It is like a fire sale right now. They're printing money, and our whole money system is built on debt. It's a joke. It's the world's greatest Ponzi scheme that they have convinced the masses to just do whatever they say.
Okay, so you hear in there he made a comment about the CIA. And we've seen some of these reports, all around. I've seen a report where the CIA actually admitted that they were putting fake stories in the Times of Zambia, in Zambia. They've been all over. They've been used. Now, I don't know what to say about them. I don't even know what to think about them anymore. I don't. Because they have been used. The CIA has been used to do evil around the world. In South Africa, we know what they did there. In Zambia, we know what they've done. So many different places. And he makes mention of them in there. And then he talks about how he exchanged his time to earn money for a living. And the money was taken away from him through taxes. The tax system in America. Oh my God. I won't even go into it for now. Because that's just, I don't know. I don't know. Some of these things, they're even hard to say. Because even when I think about the tax system in America, it's so mind-boggling. Because they literally tax you for everything. And I remember the first time I read about the tax system in America was in Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And I didn't really understand what he was saying. Because he said in America you're taxed even when you die. And I couldn't understand what it was. And now that I've lived in America, oh my God, you earn a salary. They get taxed from the salary. You take what remains of that salary to buy food in the grocery store. And they make you pay tax for spending it in the grocery store. And that's what he's talking about. They literally take all your life. They leave you with nothing. It's how the system is designed. And these elites, working hand in hand with top white people, experts, they have designed this system to simply wreak havoc in the world. Simply make people's lives miserable. It's incredible on the debt system, the credit card system. People in America live on credit cards. And I'm sure there's many other places, particularly in Europe, where people live on credit cards. The whole credit card system. Oh my God. I'm telling you, and that's why now when you hear these warnings, economic experts warning about how the West is falling, the economy is literally nosediving. It is not a joke. It is not a joke because all these systems were devised to leave people with nothing. Those credit cards, they make people put money on credit cards. You're literally investing your whole life on a credit card that they can switch off anytime they feel like. They can just wake up and just use the remote control and just switch off, and you have no money, you have nothing, you have no life. These are the systems that they've devised. Evil systems to simply eat away people's lives, chew people's destinies, destroy, devour people's destinies. That's who these people are. So the question is, who are these people? And I've promised you that in the future, you're going to see names coming out. These people are literally going to be named. There's the president of El Salvador, I believe, named one of them. And I'll show you a video of that in the future. He named one of them, a member of the elite. Because now, leaders around the world now are forced with no choice but to start now exposing who these people are. They run the American government. They've bought the politicians. And obviously, a lot of the politicians, they buy into it consciously. Consciously buy into this whole idea of evil around the world. But let's keep watching.
I'm a woke mother now, dude. And I am Gen X. And I played in the streets until the lights came on or it was dark. And if you weren't home, they were coming for your ass. And they knew where you were. I had never had a phone. The internet came about and I was like, fuck that. I resisted computers. I just went to work and exchanged my time for money that they took in tax 50% of and sent it elsewhere for evil designs. People, we somehow have remained politically silent, being okay with our little bubbles that we create. I think that's what Gen X does, is create bubbles that make it okay to live. And what we're seeing as part of this waking up is the fact that we can't live in that bubble anymore. And this is why. I'm so fired up. This poor lady has worked her whole life. And her and her husband just admit to the whole world on TikTok that they can't pay their bills. I say we boycott them, and I say we hit them where it hurts. I want everybody that sees this to follow. Cancel my clothing subscription or some shit like that. It's the guy on the internet. He's getting real famous, and he's putting graphs on his website of who owns everything, and it's the same people. Wise up. The only way that we can take control is to not give them our money. Spend your money at the local market, whatever money you have left. Grow a garden. Collect rainwater. Build a generator. Take out a credit card to do it if you have to, and quit paying the credit card. Because it's a joke. But get independent, people. It's a movement. And if they can't control us, walk away. Walk away from the system. I hate it. There's only a few places free in the world, and I'm in Alaska. And I'm not in everybody's bubble right now. I'm in my own, but I feel it because of this app. I've only been on TikTok a week. This is my second video, and I'm fired the fuck up, people. Wake up. Do the right thing. Fight the corporations who own our politicians. Do not let them divide us. We are the same thing.
Hey, so that is a lot that he brought out. One of the things, let me just make a few more comments about the things he said. One of the things he said is little bubbles. He says we live in these little bubbles. And this is one of the biggest problems that we have with humanity. It's like we don't understand that God created us to live as a single unit. I think one of the last videos I did where I was talking about the promised land and all of that, I talked about how you can't inherit the promised land on your own. The promised land is a corporate entity. It's God bringing people together who think alike, have the same mindset, have the same care towards each other. They look out for each other. And until the world becomes that, we can't overcome these people. We are so divided by each one wanting his own thing, our selfish interests. And the Bible talks about that. Everybody will talk about my job, my wife, my family, my education, my money, my this, my. That's what has brought us to this place. In the beginning, this guy asked a question. How did we get here? We got here because we as human beings, we only think about self, me. We don't think about other people. Some people even condemn the things that I talk about. You know why? Because they're just thinking about themselves. They don't realize that I'm speaking for people who are suffering. They condemn because they're thinking about themselves. The self kicks in. So he talks about how we live in these little bubbles. We need to break out of our bubbles and start to think about what affects everyone else. You can only become fulfilled in life if you act on behalf of someone else. And that's why I keep saying, all of us need to become activists. These people have used racism. He made a point, he said, don't let them divide us. White people have been divided against black against white, Latino against black, Indians against blacks, and things like that. And they've used this confusion effectively to benefit themselves financially. I'm going to show a video, probably the next video I'll do, or the next 3 videos or so. I'll include a video of a Mexican man who came from Mexico, came to the US, was told by white people, don't hang around with black people, they're bad people, they get involved in crime, and they're this and they're that. And this is what these people have consistently said about black people, about Africans, to dehumanize them, to make them less marketable for the corporate world. So they can affect the economy, so that people don't do business with them and they don't prosper. But this guy is settled in the black community in America, and they helped him so much. He never had problems with them. And one day he began to reflect, but wait a minute, I've come from Mexico with problems there. The problems were caused by white people, not black people. And he started thinking through all these things and all this propaganda that he hears through Western media and all of that. The lies that are put in movies to make black people hated and things like that, to portray white people as angels. And he realized these people are the problem. And so until we realize these things and we start to speak with one voice, start to get together, irrespective of the race, this man, he needs the support of every single person. He needs your support. You can't allow a person to be used that way and dumped. And then he's miserable. He lives in perpetual regret. You can't allow that. But at the same time, more importantly, we cannot allow these wars to continue. These people to continue orchestrating this global evil everywhere they go. They have posted people all around the world through embassies, through NGOs, the organizations that we think are bringing good into our communities. Those are the very things they use. Those are fronts that they use to expand this vision of destruction. So at the end of the day, we even ask ourselves, who are these people? Who are they? We're going to figure it out. And at some point, I'm going to do a video where I'll break it down comprehensively for you to understand who these people are and why they have an agenda of global destruction. There's a lot involved. There's atheism involved. There's Freemasonry involved. These people have come a long way with these satanic practices. It's deep. It's deep. And we need to work together to overcome evil. We need to work together to overcome evil. We have to quickly embrace a vision of oneness. If we are going to continue in this selfish ambition of wanting to be the biggest business icon or the biggest, whatever it is that you call it, this is what gives these people power. Because they themselves are one. They've united in this cause and vision for global destruction. They don't speak a different language. They all pursue the same thing. And that's what makes them powerful. We are powerless because all of us are struggling in our own little selfish bubbles. We don't know how to pursue the same thing. Then again, he gives some very, very handy advice. Grow a garden. Get a generator. Collect rainwater or something. These people have even convinced, especially in the places like the US and the West, where people don't even drink water from the tap anymore. They buy water. And all of these are channels they use to amass wealth for themselves. They've convinced you don't drink the water from the tap or from the river. And so they've replaced the natural with a superficial life. And people have come to a point now where they cannot live a normal life. They live a superficial life. Our real lives have been replaced with superficiality, with artificiality, with GMOs. We've become so programmed and conditioned to depend on those things that are artificial and superficial. And now we need a paradigm change. When you think about young people these days, millennials and so on, they don't even know what a garden is. They probably don't even know how to spell the word garden. They don't. They live in this bubble literally live on the moon. And it's time for us to come down on earth. Come back to the natural. Now, I don't know. I just hope that it's not too late for a lot of people. Because for a lot of people, particularly the very, very young ones, they've become so dependent on technology, on artificial things, GMOs, everything. I remember going to a hospital some time back. A nurse, I think it must have been like 22 years old or so. A nurse, she couldn't read the what do you call it? The analog clock. She could not read the analog clock. I sat there with my friend. We were spooked. Like, what? She literally was counting the hands like this with a pen. And then she wrote down the time. She couldn't just look at it and tell what the time was. That's how we have a generation that is so lost because of these very things. And one of the last points that he made there, do not let them divide us, is extremely important. Because these people have used race and racism very effectively. And unfortunately, many white people have bought into this pipe dream of whiteness. And they only vote white leaders, white governors, and white mayors. And this is how we got to this place. That's exactly how we got to this place. Because these people, believe it or not, I don't know if there's any single one of these elite that you'll find that is not white. I don't know. Maybe there's some Indians or Chinese or whatever. I don't know. But I doubt it. From what I've seen, what I've read up and researched, it's one race. They are the people that are terrorizing the world. So there's a lot of work to do. It's time to wake up. Yeah, I mean, there's so many talking points, to be honest, so many important things to talk about here. Even as it challenges people to, like have a generator, collect rainwater if you have to, just natural things. When you think about the fact that, the West has been busy destroying the world and building themselves. A lot of those people, talk about Asia, Latin America, Africa, they have somewhere to run. They have somewhere to run. They have natural resources that they can still get to. They can drink water from the rivers and things like that. So those people still have something to fall back on. But the people in the West don't have anything. Like I just told you, a number of young people in the West, from what I've seen, they can't live a natural life. Everything is machines. Everything is machinery. Food, machines, processed. They've become so dependent on those things. They don't have natural skills. And it's really frightening. They can't survive on their own. They need machines all around. Education is machines. Communication is machines. Transportation is machines. These people in Africa that America has been trying to destroy through and through, they have somewhere to run to. They have natural means. They can depend on the wildlife. They can depend on natural things and survive. The people in the West who have been voting for these people, putting them in power, who have built this white elite, they have nowhere to run to. That's how sad it is. That's how sad it is. And that's why we need to work together to fight these things. The people back there that we've been insulting, Africans, Latin Americans, and Latinos, and all these people, they can fall back on the natural means of survival. They can fall back on the natural means of survival. Nature can sustain them. But our friends in the West, It's terrible. It's terrible. So for our friends in the West, particularly those who identify as white, which we know is fake. Again, this thing of whiteness, they've sold you a pipe dream. But the people that have ascribed to this, that you've spent your life voting white power because you want white supremacy, because you believe white people are the geniuses, they should be ruling everything and having control of everything. This is how we got here. Because he asked that question, how did we get here? So white people have literally created an end time dragon that is out of control. That even they themselves, they can't control it. That even they themselves now are under threat by this monster that they have built through their election, their election choices, voting, and through their investment of money, through the work and the labor that they put into these systems. This is what we've ended up with. This is how we ended up here. That we've now built a monster, a dragon, an end-time dragon that is a terror to the whole world. A terror to even you who bought into whiteness. And I shared a video of a white guy who was saying, a lot of white people say they're not racist, but what are you doing to dismantle these systems? That's what matters now. What are you doing to dismantle these systems that have been built up by white elements, white participation? What are you doing? Because people have spoken about, black people have spoken about these things. They've been called names such as woke and things like that. But this is what they were trying to warn us about. And now the world is at a crossroads. We are at a terrible place. And we need God's mercy. And in the future, we have to look at how these people operate, how these movements or these components of the movement work together to form this powerful union that has become a global terror. But I feel for that man. I honestly do. And because, to think about the pain that is, the regret, the pain, the torture. And then you now think of the innocent people, innocent women that are raped. It's even worse. It's even worse. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one. Bye-bye.